pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The rules of procedure adopted annually to ensure a productive meeting. The select board meetings are in the public, not of the public, meaning the members in the public in attendance are entitled to the opportunity to comment, but the purpose of the meeting is for the board to be able to effectively and efficiently conduct the necessary business to govern the town. All questions and comments are to be directed to the chair, and the rules of procedure indicate that there will be 2 minutes allotted for comment from any single person on any single topic. The rules of procedure are posted in the town hall and are available for anyone to review.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming. We have members in attendance. We have Bob Jones, Mike Beecher, Jessica Van Ort, Tom Collard, Rich Hewlett, and I'm their assistant, Kristen. And I've got everybody online, and if you haven't signed in yet at the front of the room, please do so. Mike is our chair, so any questions or comments can be directed to him. And we do have a very full agenda this evening, so we are just going to try to be mindful of our time so that we can get through to everything. A couple of additions. So we do have, there was an updated agenda sent out yesterday to the board. I'm not sure if it made it out to the public. So a couple of additions there. We were adding an executive session to discuss labor relations agreements with employees. Also, since then, to add to the executive session, there's also a grievance item that will need to be discussed as well, that we will loop our zoning administrator in on during executive session. Additionally, there is a signature that's required for the MERP grant that Jessica has, so we can add that under old or unfinished business. And Bob Morlino is here this evening, and in an effort to get Bob over to the fire department, just quickly adding him to the top of the agenda just for a quick signature for the emergency management plan. So, did anybody else have anything to add? No? Okay. So, moving on, the minutes that need approval are from our last regular meeting, which was April 1st.
I will move to approve those minutes.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Bob Morlino.
Yeah, Mike, I have an adoption form here. This is a local emergency management plan, municipal adoption form. We do this every year. Every year we have to put together a new or updated local emergency management plan. This is the official document that says, yes, the municipality has a new plan and that we will follow the National Incident Management System. And I police whether we're following the National Incident Management System, which we are. We've adopted that back in 2013. So if I could get your signature, it has to be signed by the chair of the select board.
Okay. Have a motion to sign this?
I'll make that motion. So there's 2 places to
All in
sign.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There and there.
Pretty spiffy duds, Bob.
Oh, yeah, I just was at a hazmat call, just got back into town.
Nice. I thought you dressed up for us.
No.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Bob.
That's the second page. That's just a checklist.
That's just a checklist.
Yeah, it's a checklist to make sure I have all of the elements in the
Okay.
emergency plan.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions for Bob?
Not a question, but just one little add. If you're new to the audience, Bob was just holding the microphone, an example. So we have a microphone that we're on PEG TV as well. It's our local television program. So the microphone is not to hear yourself project. It's so that you can be heard clearly through the PEG TV recording. So if you do have anything to say tonight, we just ask. Julie is holding the microphone. And so
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. John from the Nature Conservancy.
Yes. Thank you and good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry I couldn't be there in person. My name's John Binhammer. I'm with the Nature Conservancy. And I sent a letter to the Selectboard regarding our potential purchase of a portion of the Moore property, Barbara Moore property, as an addition to our North Pawlet Hills natural area. And what we're proposing to do is to purchase about 192 acres, more or less, on the mountain and add that to our existing lands. And as you may already be aware, we pay taxes on all of our lands at North Pawlet Hills. It's all open for hunting, and we have a trail that goes that we sponsor together with the Friends of Haystack to go up Haystack Mountain. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. I'm actually looking for any insights or questions, and hopefully a support for the project from the Select Board.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions for John? We've seen quite a lot of this property get conserved through our time on the board, so this is a good thing to keep positive. Bob?
I'm fine.
Does the public have any questions? Julie?
Well, this is co-sponsored by Nancy. I have two questions. So, is there access point from Route 30 to that land? And then my second question is, I believe that there is fields there that are currently being used by a farmer, and I was just wondering if those fields are going to be able to be continued to be used as ag, or if all of the property is going to be conserved as Nature Conservancy property.
Thank you for those questions. Really appreciate it. As far as the agricultural land, this is a dual project with the Vermont Land Trust. And the Vermont Land Trust is actually working to conserve those fields and have the neighboring farmer, the Hughes Muse family, Laughing Child Farm, acquire those fields and continue the use of those fields for agriculture. And the land that we're hoping to acquire is almost entirely the forest land. So none of the fields, or maybe just a small edge of one field, but it's way up in an area that's not very productive. And as far as access goes, there is a bit of a difficulty there because we need to approach the V-Trans to get a permit for the subdivision, and they get a little persnickety about access off of a state highway. And so what we're proposing there is simply access for management purposes by our staff and contractors, and access for the public will be both at off of Tunket Meadow Road, and then also we have another access, and I'm not remembering the road, but it's at the northwest of the property where people can park and hike up the mountain. The former Hicks property.
That's
If that means anything
North
to
Pawlet
anyone.
Road, right?
Yeah, out in behind Ed Connor's garage.
Did that answer your questions?
Yes, they're both complete answers. As everybody knows, it's on the North Pawlet Road, I would say a mile or so up North Pawlet Road, where this property will basically conjoin from where Haystack accesses all the way over nearly to the North Pawlet Road, correct? To that property over in that vicinity.
That is correct, yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for John tonight? Frank?
So did you guys pick up the Hicks property then? At one point?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that was a while ago. Yeah, yeah. So we own about 1,400 acres there currently, and this will be in addition to that.
Okay.
I don't have a question. I'm just going to say that I enjoy hiking up Haystack Mountain 2 to 3 times a year at different times to enjoy it, and I really appreciate that land being conserved.
So it sounds like
Oh,
a
that's
motion.
great.
The select board
And
supports
we're
that.
really thankful that the Friends of Haystack stepped up and purchased the top of Haystack Mountain. That was a really important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, so I guess I will move that the select board expresses its support for this project.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Do you need anything in writing, John, or?
Just the minutes, I think. So
Okay.
that would be great, and I will get the minutes off your website. And I really appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening.
Thank you, and hope to see you on the trail sometime. Take care. Bye-bye.
David from Fish and Wildlife.
Hi, David Sausville from Fish and Wildlife. Oops, sorry. And here representing both the Fish and Wildlife Department for the state, and Tom Decker was not able to make it tonight. He was called down to DC. He works for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And what we would like to do is talk to the town about positioning a wildlife conservation marker. I sent around an example of what it might be, just kind of a draft copy for people. It'd be a cast metal marker that would commemorate the restoration of wild turkeys in the town of Pawlet back in 1969 and 70. And they originally began with around 31 birds that they brought in from New York. The marker would be about 18 inches by 28. Probably be on a 4x4 post or something like that. You know, that's open to discussion of what the town would like to see if they were interested in doing this. We'd like to look at possibly doing a celebration, having a nice little celebration down here in the town to commemorate that. And it wouldn't cost the town a cent. Tom has already lined up some money. A lot of our work is done with what they call the Pittman-Robertson funds, which is a tax on hunting equipment like firearms and ammunition. And we use 75% of that to pay for projects around the state, whether it's habitat or education. And 25% is paid for by hunting licenses and grants and things like that. So, as I said, we'd like to work with the town as partners on that if you're interested. That's one example of what could be in place. I did bring a poster, which I didn't put on cardboard on the way in because of the rain that was coming, but I can spread that up for people to look at, just a little bit of the history. But you know, we went from around 31 birds. Town of Pawlet was the center of it, and we're estimating around 45,000 birds statewide now. So it's truly a reintroduction success story. You know, started out with game animals, and now we're dealing with eagles and peregrines that we've reintroduced. So it's definitely expanded.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Dave? Frank?
Where would you look? Yeah, I was wondering where you would like to locate the plaque, because there were several locations the birds were released in, I believe, in town.
Right. Tom approached one of the original landowners, and they didn't want to bring too much attention to their property, so they were thinking if we could put something around the town green or near the library. But I mean, that's open for discussion, obviously, where the town would like to see something like that.
I spoke with Rose Smith, who is also the president of the Historical Society, about possibly the Braintree Schoolhouse, because I'm 99.9% sure that wild turkeys were released right across the road from my house in technically Rose's Field. I was always told that growing up as a kid, my parents and grandparents. And I spoke with Rose, and she thought that it was a great idea to consider the marker to be at the Braintree Schoolhouse, which is easy to visit. There's parking, it's easy access, it's not dangerous. And she's going to speak with the, so it's not a done deal, she's going to speak with the rest of the Historical Society and bring it up at their meeting. But she said if the Historical Society was not in favor of it, she would even consider putting the marker on her property, which is right at the corner of Bettsbridge Road, and could actually technically be a location that the
On
birds were
153.
released on 153. So it's something to consider, because my own personal fear is that if we continue to add markers to the green out here, there won't be much green left out here, because we would feel obligated to entertain everyone's choice to put a marker at the green. So if anyone has any other ideas, but it wasn't my original idea. Mike Beecher actually suggested it, and it
Seems like it goes along a historical event with a historical building and Sue?
I just want to say it would be safer where you're saying to put it over by the school rather than like out in the woods. And John's on the Historical Society, and he thinks it's a great idea to have it by the school. So there's one vote.
We can also, definitely leave it up to those folks too, if they are interested to respond.
Right.
What might be a question for this Historical Society, if some of the historical documentation that he has could be put on the wall, maybe inside, so that if there's any events, then people could also read about the history of the turkey release, as well as having the plaque.
Right.
We could provide those and work with the society to put them on different types of backers if they're interested in, and have them look at it, to critique it ahead of time.
Have a question?
Yeah, well, not a question.
Could you-
Possible
Can you have the mic,
to
please?
have a comment.
Sure.
One who was very much, this is a big part of where I grew up here in Pawlet. My father was a very large part of this. After the birds were established here, he was also a part of helping the state catch birds and then reintroduce them to other New England states. In fact, even Germany came and asked us to help. I want to put this a little bit more in a different perspective. This is probably one of the most incredible conservation stories that ever has succeeded. In fact, to the point where it's being utilized in many other states. Those states right now in the southeast and in the Midwest that are having decline in their turkey population are looking at what happened here and how it was created. As far as what Pawlet was the absolute center hub. I mean, Dorset Hollow, up by the old King Farm, Roger Leach, right up here in the corners of Malcolm, Looters, and Winpenny, Castleton, many places in a circle around here were the places where the birds were first reintroduced. And because of that, this town right here became the capital during that incredible decade between the mid-'70s to the mid-'80s. And this town was a sea of camouflage every spring, and biologists were here, and other people from other states were here to see exactly how this was working. And it's an absolutely amazing story. So I don't think, I like the idea of where you're thinking of putting it, but the point is, don't think of it as the location of where a bird was originally introduced. This was the capital of the reintroduction of wild turkey in New England, not just the state of Vermont, but in New England, because we were the very first. And then from here, the turkeys then were caught and redistributed to all the other states around us. So, as I said, it's a success story that's being repeated over and over again, even today with the reintroduction of elk east of the Mississippi, to other situations with the turkey. So I'm trying to make it. It's not that simple. Okay, it was a lot bigger than that, but that's just my opinion.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
One question. Yeah. If the town agrees to this, what would be the next steps? Are there permits we have to get through one organization, or?
Is it big enough?
I don't know, what's the dimensions of the ski?
18 by 28.
It would be, you might as well get a sign permit, is all you have to do.
That's all that would be necessary, just a sign permit.
We just have to decide where
Yeah.
we would like it installed.
Right.
So if we
So I
can,
think working with the Historical Society, Historical Society can bring it up and discuss it and see if anybody has any other better ideas on a different location, but being somewhere on one of the historical sites, I think brings everything together instead of it being not anywhere specific. So.
And you don't want it in the middle of, excuse me, you don't want it in the middle of nowhere where somebody will steal
Right.
it, because people steal signs
Right.
all the time.
and we want it in a safe place where people are comfortable to stop and actually, a lot of people's, if somebody has a better place, but like the Braintree Schoolhouse, people pull over there and have picnic lunches, and people stop and look at the schoolhouse. The North Pawlet Schoolhouse would make sense, but it's pretty dangerous to stop there on Route 30. And anywhere along through Pawlet Village, if you tried to post it, it's pretty dangerous for somebody to pull over and along near the bridge or any of that stuff. So it needs to be an area that people would stop and actually take the time to read the plaque, because I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, but we just don't want people being injured looking at it.
Martha has a question. Could you hand the mic back, please? Thank you.
I just wanted to ask David, has that marker been produced already, or is that just the design for it?
That's just the design, just the mock-ups that can be edited if there's something that somebody sees as an error.
Oh, okay, well, I was thinking maybe some of the things that Lars shared could be added or inserted somewhere. Lars seems to know a lot about the history. But I also noticed the current reading on that design for the marker says, within 2 miles of this site, the birds were introduced. So maybe it shouldn't be that specific if we haven't even figured out where we're going to put it, or have a chance to change it before it's made. I assume this is going to be in bronze, like some of the other markers in town.
Well, these are all things we can work through as we progress with this.
But we want to proceed.
Right. So, you want to make a motion that the town is in favor
I'll
of?
make a motion that we proceed to work with the wildlife restoration and try to come up with a plan for the marker.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we'll keep going back and forth and try and determine when will the next Historical Society meeting be?
The middle of May. I think
It's on
they-
Wednesday. I don't know. When's the next Historical Society meeting?
It's usually the second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesday.
Okay, so sometime in May then probably.
Right.
So we should have an answer probably within a month or so, just as everything rolls along. But it sounds like there's a great deal of favor for this. I mean, probably the biggest thing is going to be locking down a location from, and I think we have plenty of options too. So.
And turkey season's coming up.
May 1st is spring.
Right.
That's true.
We're good. Does anybody else have any questions for Dave? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for coming down tonight and sharing this with us, and we'll keep moving forward on this, and you can keep in touch with us too, Kristen or whatever. And
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Any announcements? Zoning administrator.
So we're at 10 permits to date, but the exciting thing is 3 of them are actually for new residential builds. 2 of those will be full-time, 1 will be part-time. Unfortunately, none of them involve children into the school system. And the only other thing I have is tomorrow evening, Rutland Regional Planning Commission is putting on a seminar about the new Act 181, which is the new land use legislation. So I will be attending that meeting tomorrow night. That's all I have to report.
Does anyone else have any questions for Nancy? Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update. Planning Commission?
Nothing to report except that the training, the 181 training is for select board, planning commissions, everybody involved pretty much in the permitting development process. And it's going to be 2 nights, both Wednesday and Thursday night, and it's available through their Teams or in person. And it's going to be the same thing that's happening tomorrow night and Wednesday. It will be repeated again on Thursday to make it easier for people to attend.
Okay, thank you. Did you guys get the notice from the state in your emails, or did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you got all the planning commission ones anyway, so you're locked in. You're in the circuit.
I'm probably still on them. Yeah, I'm on the Rutland Regional Planning Commission mailing list, so I get all their things.
That's the one you're talking about, if we got, right, Mike? From Rutland Regional?
Yes.
But that Stephanie Bork paperwork, she's gonna talk about
She's
that.
gonna talk about it too, but this is a little bit different planning, I guess. This is just a 2-hour session about that particular act. She has more than that to go over. I think she's gonna touch on that, but she had several other things.
Yeah, I think she was also going to talk about the regional plan as well, which is in addition to this.
We have to remember to talk about that at some point because of Stephanie said that she'd like it to be a special meeting.
We need to lock that down.
We'll have to decide on that.
That was the 29th she wants to come, right?
Yes. The next.
Yeah, because this is her agenda. And that was my question, is what's she gonna discuss with us as a select board? Is that gonna be similar to what tomorrow night and Thursday night is? I mean, if Nancy's there, that's great anyways, at least the town's representative, you know, so.
Yeah, the only thing I can see on here that might be different than what's on here is the draft regional future land use map. But that's also there. Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty similar then. This is probably to make sure that we all hear about it in case we don't go to that.
Right.
That's my guess, Tom.
That's that.
That's kind of what I thought.
I think she's saying that she's gonna, an overview, where that's a little bit, probably
More
is gonna be a
in-depth.
little bit
Yeah.
more in-depth
So
training.
that's the right one for Nancy because she's the zoning administrator. Or anyone on the planning commission who wants to go.
Or select board stuff.
Well,
Exactly.
Yes.
you know, I'm stepping back from some things.
Road foreman's report.
All right, so Jim from the Highway Department gave a report of what the highway team has been up to over the last couple of weeks. So they've fixed potholes on Kelly Hill Road, Warren Switch, and Tadmer. They've done some work on Herrick Brook Road. They picked up the Mac, which was getting work done. They did some grading work on Herrick Brook. There was a landslide of sorts on Herrick Brook Road, which they fixed. And they've also been cleaning up the 2013 Mac, and then they brought 3 loads of Crusher Run to, I believe it's Wait Hill. In addition, Jim also brought me a list of proposed projects that him and Mike have been working on or just brainstorming. A lot of them are culvert replacements. So seeing as we are hopefully closer to establishing a new highway foreman, figured it might be nice to not get too deep in discussing these now and sort of wait until we have a fuller team. But in the interim, I know that the highway department is aware of the fact that there's a lot of grading and springtime road maintenance that can be done as soon as the weather allows it to. So it's the update. And then from my end of things, everybody was emailed about it, but the paving grant, which is the municipal highway grant through VTrans, the application was submitted. So we got an estimate from Fuller, thank you, and went around and got some pictures. And so again, that's that paving project on 153. So going from about the bridge on the River Road intersection of 153 all the way out to the monument is what the estimate is for. So once we found out, A, if we get the grant, and B, how much we get, we can kind of go back and fine tune the exact distance that we might be able to pave. So hopefully we should know in about a month if we get any funding.
And if we do get funding, then we decide which sections, and then it goes out to bid for official bids.
Right.
So this estimate was just for the grant.
Budgetary numbers for.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Any other questions for the highway crew? Okay.
They graded Rupert Hill Road today, did a nice job.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Anything from the assessors? Town clerk's memo.
Deb says she can't hear.
She is not on anymore, so I
She's
will.
on her way here.
She's coming down.
That's what she says.
Okay.
So maybe we can skip it till she gets here.
All right. We want to hold off on town clerk until.
Yes, well, if she's on her way, then we'll jump up. Julie's here.
I am here. Are you ready?
Only if you heard.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. 2 warrants this week. Payrolls $8,304.10. Accounts payables $39,800.38. The breakdown is general fund $21,297.51. Highway $17,794.67. And the wastewater fund $9,012.30. Oh, this line about the grant basics, that was from last time. I did attend another VLCT seminar that was titled Putting the Fun in Fund Accounting. And a great time was had by all in attendance. That is it for me.
So I guess I'll make a motion for the warrants. I move that we approve payroll warrant 25058 and accounts payable warrant 25059.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Are those the right numbers?
I don't think they are.
Okay.
I think I also didn't change those, so I
Okay.
believe it would be 16.
6-1 and 6-2 is what it said in the email.
Yep.
Okay, those are the ones that I move about.
Okay.
The
Sorry.
correct ones. Thank you for spotting that, Kristen.
I didn't mean to cut off whoever seconded that. Did you, Bob?
No, I did not.
Oh.
But I'll second
Yeah.
that now.
Sure did.
Yes, you did now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just get her done.
Anybody else have anything else?
you I heard,
Ask
Bob?
Julie.
Well, it's not to ask, but Julie, I need to get with you to fill out the final report for the ARPA funds, because that's due this month. And I've done the previous ones, but I'll just need to get that list again of all the ones we voted on last December.
You just need the copy of the resolution?
No, I don't even necessarily need the whole resolution. I just need the numbers and what they were for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of that, so I can just
Yeah,
email you.
Yeah,
Okay.
just email me the resolution, because at the beginning of the month, I don't know if you got it also, but I got a very aggressive email from the federal government telling us that if we didn't do the reporting correctly, we had to give back the money. So anyhow, I'm glad that we talked to VLCT last year and we did it all correctly, so we don't have to give back the money.
How many people didn't do it correctly?
Well, I hope everyone in Vermont talked to VLCT.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we signing the warrants?
Looking at my other stuff, not paying attention. Do I have to sign this for the annual financial plan for the town highways?
Yes.
Okay.
So that,
Oh, Laura.
that was a part of the spring meeting that I had with,
Okay.
that we had with Patrick Wilson. And so that's an annual form that needs to be filled out. So Julie, thank you for filling that out. And the intention behind that form is for FEMA. So it gives FEMA the opportunity, if we ever have to apply for a FEMA-related disaster funding, that helps them to see how much money we would be eligible for. So that is just a summary of our winter maintenance and non-winter maintenance broken down, and just puts us in the running for funding eligibility.
Okay. I don't think we need any kind of approval on that. Everybody on that one.
Do you want to send that back in the packet, or?
I can, yep.
I just sent that too.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it can just go back into the warrant.
Okay.
And then I'll
Perfect.
see it and I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Is there anything from Bob Morlino? about
No,
emergency
not this
management?
evening.
Okay. Anything from Jennifer?
No, not that I'm aware.
Here's that.
Mike, if I can back up, I got a question on Bob. He sent us an email on the Vermont Emergency Medical is offering that ICS 402 down in Manchester.
Uh-huh.
It's on a Monday from 11 to 3, but he encouraged 3 of us to attend, but I'm not gonna be able to attend that on a Monday.
28. I might be able to do that, and I haven't done it yet since it's, like he said, it's been a while since it was. Let me make a note for myself to check that date. I think I have that email also in my emails. Thank you, though. Thanks for the reminder.
I guess it was probably 5 or 6 years ago, Bob was able to bring a trooper down, and we had a special meeting.
I think it'd be great to attend, I just can't that Monday.
It's something that they require for the, when, you know, for the master plan, that they try and encourage as many of us as possible to have the internet command system, so that we at least understand it and can follow it in a large event. So, Deb, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, I've been trying.
I don't know why it worked. It worked for the guy from the fishing game, but
Heard everything until he got done talking.
Huh. It says I've been going on and off and on and off and trying to mess with it without playing a very loud test tone.
Have something to do with the mic that's being passed around?
No, they're independent.
Oh.
That goes to
Sorry
Tech
about
TV
that,
only,
but
not to the Zoom.
Okay.
I had to kick my granddaughter out, but that's okay. I'm still dressed. I'm still dressed.
So.
It's a fun. So anyway, did anybody have any questions with the things that are on my memo? There's a bunch of stuff.
We waited for you to read it. We
Do you
didn't
want-
even read it out.
Do you need anything, or do you want me to read through it, or do you want it to read through?
Sure, I can take it. Thanks. Okay, so there's 2 rental contracts for the use of the auditorium. The one for the Historical Society, they kind of need, theirs includes 2 dates, just so they can have a fitting for the uniforms. So they need to be signed. I think if there's any questions on the growing community, I think Ruth is here if anybody had any questions on that application. There's 2 applications for Max Market LLC, one for a tobacco license and a second for a second-class license. There is a quote, I think I gave it to you, Mike, and I think, oh, you have it. This is for some, since I've been here, the vault door has not ever been serviced. So I've been in communication with Royals for a few months, and this is a quote that they gave me to come down and do a service and take a look at it and make sure everything's working okay. The monies for that would not come out of the general fund. I have, for every recording that we do with the town, there's $4 that's put aside for land records restoration and preservation, and so the monies would come out of that. And I think I have a little over $900 left in a CTCL grant, so both those 2 combined would cover that, but because it's over a certain amount, I felt you guys should know about that. The other thing is Tom Cavino has a document that he needs signed, which is a sub-grant agreement. And that's for, I was hoping he'd be here in case you had any questions about it. Julie's kind of read it over, I've looked it over, and I think the gist of it is that it helps the town recoup some of the monies for him doing traffic stops that are listed in the sub-grant agreement. So there's that, and then this afternoon, Sue and I attended a Zoom meeting with Sarah Copeland-Hansis with regard to the executive order and the SAVE Act, and that pertains directly to elections. So that's all I have, unless somebody has any questions or comments.
I would like, Ruth, I'm not familiar with the growing community.
Oh, it's a brand new thing.
It's just updated, check it.
So a whole bunch of different community members have been coming together trying to find ways of just fostering community and growth, and I'm hoping that if this takes off, I'll continue trying to have like maybe a monthly or bi-monthly events that are free and open to the public, that don't cost anyone anything, that are open for everyone to come, and involve people sharing resources freely. So this one is a seed and plant start exchange. Also inviting the non-gardeners to bring or the gardeners who have them also, to bring surplus craft supplies to swap. As part of your spring cleaning, if there's a project you guys are bogged down with, you can head to a fresh set of hands and get something new and fun to work on in return. Anybody who's got backyard flocks starting to flood them with eggs, bring a couple extra dozen eggs and pass them on to a neighbor who could really use eggs right now. But yeah, it's just anybody who wants to bring snacks to share, they can. I'll have everything set up, so there'll be places where you can sort seeds, take seeds, label seeds, and craft supplies, and just generally have a meet and greet for people to come out now it's spring and talk about gardens and crafts.
Great, thank you.
Here's the.
These dates don't conflict with anything? Okay.
Well, I guess I'll make a motion then that we approve those two auditorium use requests, the seed swap event and the historical society event.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I actually have a quick question I emailed you, Deb. I just wanted to make sure that, so as people are submitting these auditorium requests, in terms of getting them access to get in, do you generally communicate with them about getting keys and whatnot, or what's our way to do that?
They usually stop in to see me. A lot of times it works itself out because they know somebody who's going to be there that can let them in. Right now, I do not have any additional auditorium keys.
Okay.
So we're probably at a point where we should make a few more up, because we were only given 8 of those to start with.
Right.
And they get handed out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, so they're checking with me. I have a key release that people need to sign, and it's an agreement on how they're going to handle being responsible for the door. And
okay. Good.
Yeah.
I just realized the other day, I'm like, it occurred to me that I'm telling, we're like, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and use the auditorium, but then that's it. So I'm like, best of luck getting in. That's part of the adventure.
Yeah.
So, all right, good. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a motion on the liquor and lottery license applications?
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second those.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That quote for the locks is like $1,700, so it probably would be good if we had a motion for that to have that done.
Yeah, I just have one question. So is the lock bad on the vault? They're replacing the lock or just maintaining it?
That's going to be part of the discussion when he comes to look at it.
Because it looks like in this quote, part of it is replace vault door lock.
Yeah, we had discussed that.
Okay.
That was part of what we discussed, and also they've thrown in the service to see. It's not necessarily going to happen, but I need him to come down and we need to have a discussion. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
So it's possible he could come down, look at that lock, be able to service it and get it operating functionally without having to replace it.
Right. We're kind of wanting to find out from him if someone was locked inside, if they could get out. That's sort of my end game.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's important to know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
That's a good goal.
So basically he's gonna make everything right and it won't exceed that quote.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And like I said, it doesn't come out of general fund. It comes out of the monies that the $4 from every page that gets entered into the land records goes into a preservation fund for land record preservation and protection, and then there's the CTCL grant, which was given for election security, and keeping election information in the vault is part of election security. So
funds.
The funding is there.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, somebody want to make a motion on that so that we can get this squared away?
Sure, yeah, I'll move that. I'll move that we approve the Royal Group Inc. coming down and looking at the safe, and then, if needed be, repairing or replacing the vault door lock at this cost.
A second?
I'll second that, Mike.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, you can reach out to them. Paperwork. I don't know, I would. There's quite a lot of paperwork, or some details regarding this paperwork. I'd feel more comfortable if I had a chance to review it before I signed it tonight. I
That's
don't
the
know
one
if
for
it-
Tom.
Yeah.
See if it has a deadline for a date or anything on it.
Mike, may I?
Yes.
So Tom did come in, and I have an extra copy of the last page, which is for the details of how it's reported, because I will have to report his hours.
Uh-huh.
But I did read through it, and there's like, it's just asking for certain dates to have coverage, to have someone doing traffic stops on those dates for a variety of things that include like impaired driving, distracted driving. Yeah, passenger safety. There's just like a few things like that. Just my 2 cents.
Right, but it's an agreement with the Rutland County Sheriff's Department? Are we,
They, I think, are facilitating the grant. So it would come, like the money would come through them to us.
okay, so this is an application for a grant. Okay, that's, I mean, just getting it right now, I don't have any chance. It's important that we put this paperwork out prior to the meeting so we all have a chance to look it over.
I get it.
Instead
Yeah.
of trying to scramble at
Yeah.
the meeting, so. I'm still, I'd like to look it over first. I don't know what anybody else says, but,
It would be nice if next time Tom could come and just explain it to us.
so we could,
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
we could, fax that, or scan it and fax it so everybody would have a chance to review it first before we sign it at the meeting, I think.
Would you like me to do that?
That would be great if you could. And send it to the 5 of us, and then we can revisit it at the next meeting after we've had a chance to review it and such.
Would you need? Do you need this copy of it?
Yeah, I'll scan it and then I'll send everybody. I'm thinking I'll send it to you.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any,
In this update from the Secretary of State, it's just information, is that correct?
information from what you learned at that meeting that you and Sue went to, right?
Yeah, right now it's, the SAVE Act has passed through the House and it's about to go to the Senate, and it's directly related to voting. And the executive order is also directly, the one that was signed is directly related to voting. And Secretary Copeland Hansis is trying to keep us informed because at its most complete, it's pretty intense. It has to go through a lot of discussion and changes and whatever. So, but it's pretty intense.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Anybody else have any questions for Deb? Or? Okay. Town hall door. Anybody have any updates on the town hall door repair?
Where are we at with that? Were you gonna, Tom, ask?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Hey, tomorrow.
My reminder went off when I walked in here tonight. My apologies, I did not follow through on that last weekend.
But Tom and I have been talking, so we have a plan and an idea. But after, not all is lost, Tom.
No.
But so after kind of learning a little bit more about what's going to be required and the historic nature of the exact replica that's needed, Tom, we were talking, and Jessica, and we were all in on the conversation about how probably going with more of a fine, like custom furniture builder would be the direction to go rather than a carpenter, or just kind of like a general remodeling carpenter. So there are two that we have in mind. One is maybe located in West Pawlet. We've seen a sign. And then there is another company over in Dorset who they do fine custom woodworking as well. So the thought would be maybe to reach out to those folks and see. I know that the people in Dorset I've heard of, that they've done work for municipalities and other sort of local organizations, and they've been known to be a little bit more fair in their pricing, just because with that comes a much higher price tag most generally. But yeah, so we'll work on getting conversations rolling with those people.
I was wondering, I just saw in Front Porch Forum today someone had a paid posting. I don't know if the person in Dorset is Charlie Recknagel or not.
It's not, but maybe they'd be a good
yeah,
option.
it was just in Front Porch Forum today. It says, "Hi neighbors, I'm Charlie Recknagel. I specialize in high-end millwork, cabinetry, kitchen and bathroom remodels, furniture, decks, interior and exterior painting, licensed and insured."
Wow.
And then has that person's email. But
Destiny.
it doesn't say where they are located. It's
Well-
an 802 number. That doesn't help us.
Is that West Pawlet?
We got no
I don't know if it's
Help me out. She helped remind me. Now you help give me the info, and I'll look.
Well,
through.
that could be a good
Yeah, so I just
direction
thought
to
of that
go.
because it said the fine furniture, and I was like, oh, that door.
know, good
So,
thinking. Well,
if
maybe
either
we
of
can
those other two fall through.
we can look up
About this
Mr. Recknagel. All right.
Frank?
I was wondering, since the MERP is right around the corner, and this would be maybe covering doors as well as maybe the whole front window area, is it maybe, Jeremy could be asked, if MERP could be coming in and doing this as part of the
As
whole
part of that
overall
project.
project?
I think that the funding could be used for that. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that we really want to get this door fixed quickly, and if we have to wait through the grant process, it might be next year before we can get the door fixed. So
The time frame doesn't really
It's not
cooperate very
perfect.
well with us.
Isn't the money already set aside for this? And it's just like an RFP, but this is like a pre-RFP or
No, it's not.
RFQ?
No, it's not quite that
I
easy. is
mean,
it?
yeah, the town doesn't have the money yet. It's been approved for us, but we're gonna have to go through a process before we can actually spend it. So I don't anticipate we'll be able to spend it until later in the year.
What I'm wondering about is if we did it correctly according to them, if we could be reimbursed through that process.
I can ask, I think it's Jeremy. I can ask him. I've been in touch with him a little bit about it. And in fact, that's on the signing that will be on our old business.
Okay. Okay, so the auditorium use we've covered, right?
I just want to make sure we've covered the 4th, May 4th. Yes. Because at the last meeting, we talked about a couple of their events, but I had missed the one on the 4th, and so Rose followed up on that. But we got the 4th this time.
All of a sudden, it's a busy place.
Yeah, I know. It turns out.
It's spring. Everyone wants to do things.
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
good on that.
All right,
yeah.
good. Reports of the community of the school board.
Did we miss wastewater?
Oh, yes, I jumped right over it. Jill had a little report. I think they had something fixed in an air handler. They gotta get a quote on the generator transfer switch.
Yeah, there was an upcoming thing that had to get a quote on.
The generator switch, that's gonna be pretty pricey.
Mm.
So we may have to look at maybe that. Would that be, if the generator, that could be several $1,000s, that could be something that could be, come out of the building repair fund?
Capital projects.
Capital project fund, okay. that may be the best avenue for that, because it seems like the last time we were talking, it was several $1,000s for a new transfer switch. Something happened to it, and it's hard to say, you know, what failed or what caused it to fail. There's no definitive cause, so there's really, I don't think there's any way we can go after insurance, and it's been quite a while. So.
Oh, that just reminded me, I don't remember if I passed this information on to you, but I did hear back from the passive insurance on the doors at the West Pawlet garage, and we're gonna be reimbursed for that.
Oh,
Excellent.
great.
And other than
So we
that,
should probably let Ski Door know to move forward with that project.
That would be good. We should have something to get reimbursed for, probably. So do they want, sorry, Mike, to cut you off. Do they want us to complete the work and then submit for reimbursement?
As close as I can to a
Probably.
direct quote was, if those were the only damages, we will cut you a check less the deductible. So I feel like there's probably in transit a check to the town of Pawlet currently, so yeah, we should get the work done.
All right.
okay. Any other? I guess for Meadowy School, that was last meeting, correct, or more?
We had a meeting last night, so I
Okay.
have a report for April. At our regular meeting on April 14th, which was held at the Rupert Firehouse, the board approved a revised transportation policy and approved a behavior threat assessment teams policy. We also monitored policies 3.0 and 3.1, which were global board management designation and unity of control, respectively. We finalized language for the Meadowy graduate survey and event, which we will be hosting an event at the school where we're inviting all former Meadowy students that are currently in grades 9 through 12 to seek their feedback on how they felt prepared in their new schools upon leaving Meadowy. And that event will be held at the school on May 5th at 6:30 p.m. We also spent significant time discussing priorities to advocate for in legislation. And we decided on a letter to members of the Vermont Senate Education Committee being sent out by me by Monday. We also finalized a date to hold a joint board meeting with the Wells Springs School Board to discuss common values and ways that we might join forces to advocate for our students in the face of massive legislation changes in both education governance and finance. That meeting will be at the Meadowy Community School on May 13th at 6:30 p.m. And then our next regular meeting will be May 19th at 6:30 p.m. and it will be here in the auditorium. As always, we welcome public attendance and participation in our meetings. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Public library.
Corey couldn't be here tonight because it's her birthday. So she wanted me to say, we're going to get the windows washed, so that'll be exciting. And we're going to do one side per year, and I don't know if she means inside or outside or side, but anyway, we're going to be cleaning it up. We've approved job descriptions for the employees at the library and working on an evaluation system. And the book sale's coming up, big push for the book sale. Last weekend of July, books are accepted at Jed Rubin's Barn only on Tuesdays, starting next week, the 22nd, from 9 to 11. They need volunteers for sorting and for the week of the sale. And I we had a few little incidents at the library of people calling, or somebody calling and being inappropriate on the phone to our staff. And I guess it happened 3 times. And so Tom Cavino's been notified, and the employees were wondering about different security things. Then, you know, they start worrying about other things, and I get it. So I'm going to look into a few high-tech and low-tech things for over there. I'm not spending any money or anything yet, just looking to see what's available and what might actually be helpful for people's safety at the library. And I've sent a letter or an email to our building and grounds people, just with a little list of what I'm looking into. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay. Thank you for that, Sue. Older unfinished business. The truck purchase, do we have any more information on that? Or
Yes, so
we do?
John emailed me yesterday. So John Weiss for those of you who weren't here last time, so the Pawlet Volunteer Fire Department had spoke to the board about the potential for having their assistance in purchasing a new truck using some state pricing that only municipalities are eligible for, but they were able to find a good closeout deal on a truck that was way better than the state pricing. So they were very grateful for the select board's support, but they have gotten it figured out on their own.
Okay, excellent.
That's the update there.
Tom's policies.
I don't.
Okay. Rutland Regional attendance at the next meeting.
So we'll talk about the policies next time when Tom's here.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
constable
right now,
policies.
we have no policies to look at. Or
Right, because he hadn't emailed them that I had seen.
I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
And for old business, it's
The
not
mer-
on here, but I had sent in around last week the contract for the Rutland Regional Planning Commission managing our MERC grant. They got it out last week, and I sent it around to everybody, and I was hoping that we could sign it tonight. And I didn't print the whole thing off, but I did print off the signature sheet. If we decide to sign it, that is our signature sheet. And we had previously agreed to hire them, so this is the contract. So I guess if we need a motion, I will move that we sign the contract with Rutland Regional Planning Commission for grant management. Yes.
I'll second that.
Frank, you got a question?
Yeah, I had a question in general when I was up there about grant management fees, because they're built into the grants actually, and it was built in at 10%. They're giving us a deal at that 5 to 8%, so it's a reduced grant management fee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for that. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So you'll just do right here, authorized representative. And I'll get that back to Devin. Thank you.
Thank you. And next Tuesday, in 2 weeks, our next normal meeting,
Yes, so I can.
Stephanie wants to come down and go over a whole bunch of cool stuff with us.
Yes, so the original email that everybody was forwarded, so what you were all speaking about earlier, but so the idea of being here to speak with you all directly would be to provide an overview of the plan and its elements and how Act 181 overhauled Vermont's land use planning framework, which Nancy's going to be learning about. Diving into the new Act 181 land use categories, state designations, and location-based Act 250 jurisdiction tiers, and walking through the draft regional future land use map and highlight key changes from the 2018 map. The meeting would be an opportunity to review and provide feedback on the draft regional future land use map, especially as it applies to Pawlet, and determine if Pawlet should opt in to Act 250 Tier 1B jurisdiction. So, as the emails had continued, the idea originally, Stephanie had requested an hour, and we had said that we already had a meeting scheduled on the 29th, which was when Stephanie had requested to come. So her proposal was to come at 6 and do a special meeting at 6 before the next meeting. So she asked me to, or she checked in with me to follow up on that this morning, and I told her that there was a meeting tonight. So I guess the question is if you want to break it out over 2 weeks, or if we feel like we have the attention span for a double header.
Would everybody be able to get here at 6?
It would probably be easier to do a 6 o'clock meeting than week after week, 3 in a row, to me.
Yes.
What about you, Richard?
I would agree with that.
Especially this time of year, you're gonna get real busy quick, aren't you?
The sun shines.
Yeah.
No rain.
Well, and if we don't have too much other than that on the agenda for in 2 weeks, we might not have to go till 9, so we'll see.
That's right.
We asked her if we could pull it at 6:30, and she seemed to think it was gonna take an hour.
Didn't like that idea. We were trying to bargain.
Yeah.
We're like 6:15. Okay, so special meeting warning for 6 on the 29th, followed by regular meeting. It's awfully quiet.
Perfect. All right, so that's the story there. Right?
But I have a conflict that evening, so I can't be here.
So you're not gonna be here anyways, huh?
No.
Well,
Good
you'll
thing you're going to the other one.
stuff.
That's right.
You're the ace in the hole.
She'll
Give her a raise.
She'll already know. She's going tomorrow night, so. All right. So we got that. Anything else under old or unfinished? Okay, so
I think so.
we're on to new business.
Yeah.
I was sneezing a cough.
Bless you. Yeah, I think new business is a good place to go.
Okay. So I got in an email chain from basically all the select boards that have property that own, that 133 goes through, and they want to pressure the state to do something about 133 because they all feel that 133 is in terrible condition, Middletown Springs. And so they've come together and they've drafted a letter that they would like us to get on board. And I had sent Chris an email chain late today that it's kind of came through yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to forward it to everybody today. Did you find it? Or?
I did find it. So Herb Childress, who's the chair of Middletown Springs, sent the letter to the chairs of all the towns along Vermont Route 133 from Clarendon to Pawlet. We all know that Route 133 is in tough condition. Brian Sanderson of VTrans District 3 is well aware of our concerns and is hoping for funding to conduct some work this summer. I asked Brian whether a letter co-signed by towns along the route might help lift our project's priority scoring, and he thought that it might. So if I were to draft a letter of concern and get it to Brian late this week, do you think you might sign it? Let me know. So there's no letter yet, but it seems like
I thought that he had put a letter on, or maybe I didn't do a good job.
You did a great job. I just don't think that there is a letter.
I
Unless,
was pretty sure that I saw it,
okay.
but I don't know if I can find it on my phone or not.
I heard this morning that the state took 300 miles of roads and cut it down to 120 for the whole state.
Here it is right here. Okay, so.
Suppose we could incorporate Route 30 into that too?
I can read it, maybe you can read it better than me because I'm not thinking I got smart enough glasses to read this.
I don't remember.
Oh, no, you want me to read this?
They dug it all up and put culverts in, and
I can't really.
I'll do that.
usually you pave the next year. It's not gonna happen.
All right. Dear friends, we collectively represent the communities adjacent to Vermont State Route 133 and are writing to express our concern with the condition of that roadway. The very northmost sections of that road from Clarendon through to West Rutland have been recently improved. However, the vast majority, nearly 20 miles extending through the towns of Ira, Tinmouth, Middletown Springs, Wells, and Pawlet, is in very rough condition. The V-Trans pavement condition map shows that full length as being in poor or very poor status, with most recent major work more than 30 years ago. Vermont 133 is a crucial lifeline for our communities, for daily commuting and family visits, for weekly trips for church or groceries, for social services to our families and elderly. 133 is driven by thousands of our residents. Many of them have expressed to us their concern and frustration with the road's condition. We ask that you please prioritize the improvement of Vermont Route 133 as you budget for and advocate for the highway work of the coming year. With thanks, the residents of Ira, Tinmouth, Middletown Springs, Wells, and Pawlet. And it looks like your name is the last one missing on the list of chair people.
That's what they said underneath. Yeah, I heard from it. Oops, excuse me. From Paula. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like Quick said in one tonight. Our meetings tonight. I'll get back to you.
Yes.
Well, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't sign on to that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay. So
I'll make that motion if we need a motion.
Bob will make that motion that I sign that letter, and I'll get it back to him tomorrow.
I guess I'll second it since I already said we should do
Okay.
it.
Any more discussion?
Does that impact us in town and any other parts of our town and getting?
Now, basically, we're just saying that we hope that the state spends their money, not money they're going to share with us. Their own.
The state come back and say, okay, the town was allotted this, so we're gonna pull it from here?
No, because
I
it's
think
their.
it's state funding, so any grant work that, sorry to interrupt you, but any grant work that we apply for as a town is for our town roads. I mean, except for, like the V-Trans paving grant for just a small section. But I think in this situation, it's a total stretch going through many towns, so this is more of a joint effort rather than just one town's efforts towards improving small bits of roadway.
Well, and as far as
Is
Highway
my
30
guess.
goes, we know that V-Trans has Highway 30 paving on their list for like the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they had 133 on their list or not, but they've said they have Highway 30 on their list. It needs it too, but.
So I think to answer your question, that for them to improve any of their roads that they maintain that goes through our town, it doesn't affect any of the other funding that we get for our town. Not that I've ever seen in the past.
Thank you.
Okay. Sue?
Maybe let our representative know also about this, because Middletown Springs, Tinmouth, and Pawlet are his districts.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pass this letter
Pass it on to
on to him. Okay. We voted on that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody said aye, but Bob made the motion and Jessica seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Go.
Any other new business? Public comment. Martha? Can somebody give her the microphone, please?
Here you go.
Thank you, Julie.
I'm hoping for some clarification. I understand that the previous library board director has now decided to sue the town of Pawlet Selectboard. I think I have that correct, but maybe someone can correct me if I'm not correct.
Well, what happens in a case like this is that the library is a separate entity until something like this happens. And if they were to be sued, by default, the town of Pawlet is ultimately responsible.
So would that mean that if the town of Pawlet's insurance, if the suit is won by the library director, our insurance for the town of Pawlet would have to pay the claim or whatever, and so then am I correct in assuming that then our insurance rates would go up and citizens of the town of Pawlet would be, perhaps our tax rate might go up?
The only answer I can give you is what I gave you. The rest of it is all handled by the attorneys. So I'm not gonna make any more comment regarding this.
Well, might I suggest that the town attorneys come and be transparent with the rest of us at some time?
This is ongoing litigation. There's nothing that they will say at this point. Trust me, they're working on it very diligently, but there's no public comment to be made regarding this.
Right, thank you.
Okay. The next planning commission meeting is the 28th, the night before your select board meeting. And we would like to emulate, go into the enhanced energy plan, and Jessica pioneered some technology advancements that we're desperately hoping to replicate, including the laptop and the screen, and being able to go line by line through the energy plan format and make changes in our meetings. And so we need that laptop, and I've been talking with Kristen about this, and she's looking for the replacement laptop. And so we would get the other one and be town property and be left here. And so whoever becomes the chairperson, which we're deciding on as well, will decide to run the meeting from that laptop, or somebody else will. And if they're not at a meeting, then the laptop would be kept here, so that somebody can't make it to a meeting, then everything, so we have all the tools needed to run the meeting. And so that's still being worked on. The Fishing Game Club has their kids fishing derby on the 26th. That's the week after Saturday, 2 miles south of West Pawlet at 9 a.m. in the morning. The rail trail group is getting together with all the rail trails in the state. We're the consortium, and getting them to know everybody and get ideas from people. I'll be attending the Rutland Regional Planning Commission thing tomorrow night, Wednesday night, because I have to be in Rutland anyway, so I'll go right to their office. That's about it. But I had one more thing. Cover it with Chris. It has to do with the laptop stuff.
No.
Thank you.
The laptop, when it becomes available,
Right.
we'll pass it on to you. So until it's available, you don't get it. Thank you.
That's right.
Yes, and just to add an item about the laptop, every other planning commission has made do with their own laptop. If the planning commission would have liked to requested a laptop directly, that could have been done, but I will just add that I will be, this laptop is serving me well. I've been
Right.
approved to get a new one. I will work on that as I am able, but I would appreciate there to be a cease in the constant nagging for a new laptop.
What brought this up
So
is
that's,
we don't know who's
need
going to
go-
be.
You and I can
No.
continue the conversation. We
Let
don't
me
need to
let me
bring
say
everybody
this
else
is
into it.
because
but-
because I was working on this in insurance business as far as
No,
control.
Frank, we're done.
No,
We're done talking
John.
about- We're
when
done
John-
talking
when
about the
John,
laptop.
when John
Thank you.
passed away, if he were a chairperson and somebody passed away, you can't legally get onto that laptop to get any information. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, it's a
Okay.
federal act,
Frank,
and that's what
Frank,
this is addressing.
We're done
I
talking,
understand.
Frank, we're done talking
But
about the
we're
laptop.
done now.
Here, I'll take that.
Any other public comment?
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for labor relations agreements with employees,
As well as a grievance discussion.
as well as a grievance.
Right, a grievance discussion, a zoning issue.